We're about to do something few Americans have ever done. Drive a Chinese electric vehicle.
What's so special about this? Why is the world going nuts over this car?
In the U.S., we say bang for the buck. This is probably as good as you can get in terms of bang for the buck.
Lei Xing is a Chinese-American podcaster and consultant covering the auto industry.
打开主驾座椅按摩。
Is that massage?
Yes.
Right away, you notice the luxury.
Instead of getting a rental car and driving to D.C., I decided to take the train. It was a lot easier to take the train and save a few bucks.
Gas prices are up more than 50% since the war with Iran began, as driving Americans out of their cars and on to public transit.
I filled my tank up last week. It was $55 to fill it up. That's the first time I've ever spent that much on my vehicle.
In a lot of the big cities in this country, the ridership of public transportation went way down after COVID. It's going to start ticking up. People are going to be frustrated.
1 million unsold cars. Dealer lots overflowing. Not with deals, not with savings. Just metal. Sitting. Some of it for over 700 days. Think about that. A brand new 2024 truck, still wearing its original sticker. Still sitting on a lot right now in 2026. Never driven. Never sold. And there are 3.1 million of them parked just like it across this country right now. But here is what nobody is saying out loud. This is not good news. Not yet. Because the same dealerships bleeding out right now are the exact same ones that charged buyers $10,000, $15,000, sometimes $20,000 over sticker price just a few years ago, and smiled while doing it. Now the lots are full, the buyers stopped coming, and something underneath the entire system is about to snap. So before you walk onto any lot thinking the deals are finally here, you need to understand what is actually happening first, because the price tags changed. But the game did not. Here is the part the dealerships do not want you thinking about right now. The lots are overflowing. The inventory keeps building. Cars are sitting for months, some of them for over 2 years. And the people who could fix that problem, the buyers, are not coming back. Not because they stopped needing a vehicle. Not because they forgot what a car payment feels like. They remember exactly what happened. Go back a few years. Supply chains broke down. Factories slowed. Inventory dropped. And dealerships across this country faced a choice. They could protect their loyal customers, the people who had been coming back year after year, buying vehicle after vehicle, sending their families, their neighbors, their co-workers through the door. Or they could take advantage of the moment and make every single buyer pay for it. They chose to take advantage. $10,000 over sticker became the new normal. $15,000. Sometimes $20,000 or more, just to drive off the lot in something that should have sold at the manufacturer's suggested retail price. It did not matter how long you had been a customer. If you wanted it badly enough, you were paying for it. The F-150 Raptor. The lowest price anyone could find at the height of it was $10,000 over sticker price. Not negotiable. Take it or leave it. The Toyota Land Cruiser, when the LC250 redesign dropped, dealerships were asking $5,000 to $10,000 over the manufacturer's suggested retail price, well after the supply issues had cleared. The TRD Pro Tacoma, the Tundra, the Sequoia, the 4Runner. Every high-demand model came attached to an ADM, an additional dealer markup, that had nothing to do with the value of the vehicle and everything to do with how desperately they thought you wanted it. And the people sitting across those desks, signing that paperwork, were overpaying by thousands. They were not strangers walking in off the street. They were loyal customers. People who had bought from those same dealerships before, people who had sent their families in, people who had referred their coworkers, people who trusted the relationship. That trust is gone. This is the part dealerships are learning the hard way right now. People do not forget. They do not shake it off after a year or two and wander back in like nothing happened. They went elsewhere. They held on to their current vehicles. They waited. The showrooms that felt completely untouchable in 2021 are now standing in silence, surrounded by inventory that will not move. The greed built this problem, and the problem is not getting smaller. So what does 3.1 million unsold vehicles actually look like from the inside? The numbers tell a story that most people have not heard yet. 3.1 million brand new vehicles are sitting on dealership lots across America right now. That number is not normal. It is not a seasonal blip. It is not a supply chain story with a tidy resolution coming in the next quarter. It is a parking lot full of metal that nobody is buying, and it keeps growing. Some of those vehicles have been sitting for 500 days. Some have crossed 750 days. Think about what that actually means. A brand new 2024 truck still wearing its window sticker, still sitting on a lot in 2026. Never titled, never driven, still waiting for a buyer who is not coming. And the people selling those vehicles? They are leaving too. Salesman turnover right now is at the highest level this country has ever seen in the auto industry. Men walk in, look at a lot full of inventory that is not moving, do the math on their commission checks, and walk right back out. You cannot blame them. There is nothing to sell when nobody is buying. But here is what most people watching from the outside do not understand. Every single vehicle sitting on that lot is costing the dealership money every single day it sits there. It is called a flooring cost. It works like this. Dealerships do not own their inventory outright. They borrow against it. Every vehicle on the lot is financed through a line of credit, and that line of credit charges interest every single day that the vehicle does not sell. A smaller dealership will spend $15,000 to $25,000 a month just on flooring costs alone. A larger operation will spend $100,000 to $250,000 every single month. That is not revenue. That is not profit. That is money walking out the door while the inventory just sits there collecting dust. And those dealerships that have been holding 2024 models through all of 2025 and into 2026. The flooring costs on those specific vehicles are not small anymore. They have had months, sometimes close to 2 years, of daily interest quietly stacking up on each one. Every year, tax season used to throw dealerships a lifeline. People get their refunds, they have a little extra in the bank, and some of them put that toward a down payment. Showroom traffic picks up between March and June. It has worked like clockwork for decades. In 2026, that boost never showed up. People took their refunds and paid bills. They kept their current vehicles running. They did not walk onto a lot. The extra money went everywhere except a dealership. The lifeline snapped, and the flooring costs just kept running. Here is a number that should stop you cold. Manufacturers suggested retail prices on new vehicles have climbed nearly 45% since 2019. Not 10%, not 20%, 45%. In the span of a few years, the price of a new car in America did not inch up, it exploded. And the vehicles that absorbed most of that explosion are not exotic sports cars or limited production specialty builds. They are the trucks and SUVs sitting on every dealership lot in every city in this country right now. The ones people actually need. The Chevy Suburban, the Ford Expedition. Vehicles that used to sell for $40,000 or $45,000 are now crossing $100,000 on the sticker. $100,000 for a family SUV. That number used to mean a Lamborghini. Now it means a Ford F-250 or a GMC Yukon sitting in a school pickup line. And trucks are no different. The average price of a new truck today is $64,000. That is the average. That is not a fully loaded, top-of-the-line, every option checked example. That is a mediocre trim. A reasonable spec. Something that would have been considered mid-range a few years ago. If you want the high-spec, high-country version, get ready to push close to 6 figures before you even start negotiating. So how did this happen? Part of it is simple math that automakers figured out a long time ago. A base trim and a fully loaded trim take up the exact same amount of space on the assembly line. They require the same machinery, the same workers, the same factory floor. But the profit margin on that loaded high-spec example is dramatically larger. So automakers stopped building the cheap version. They loaded everything up. Technology packages nobody asked for. Comfort features that add thousands to the sticker and maybe get used twice. Creature comforts bundled in whether you want them or not, because the margin on those extras is where the real money lives. And dealerships are not innocent bystanders in this. The gap between invoice price and manufacturer suggested retail price on a Ford F-150 Platinum is vastly different from the gap on a base STX. The dealership makes dramatically more on the Platinum, so they push the Platinum. They structure the conversation around the Platinum. The base model exists technically, but you will never see it featured, promoted, or recommended. Right now, manufacturers are advertising the highest level of incentives seen in 2 decades. Rebates, special financing, end of model year deals. And buyers are still overpaying because the baseline moved so far up that even a discount lands above where prices used to be. The discounts are real. The prices are still wrong. Here is how the math actually works on a $90,000 to $100,000 truck right now. You walk in, you put down 10% or 20% if you are lucky enough to have it. Most people are not putting down 50%. Most people are not putting down a third. They are putting down whatever they scrape together, signing on the dotted line, and then absorbing a monthly payment that the dealership spent the entire conversation making sound reasonable. That monthly payment on a $90,000 to $100,000 truck is between $1,700 and $2,200 every single month. Before insurance, before fuel, before a single repair bill shows up. And because that number is brutally hard to swallow, buyers are doing the only thing that makes it feel survivable. They are stretching the loan out as far as it will go. Last year, in 2025, more than 20% of all auto loans taken out in this country were 84-month loans. 7 years. People signing up to make payments on a vehicle for 7 years while that vehicle loses value every single month they own it. And it gets worse. Nearly 3% of all loans written last year were 96-month loans, 8 years. That is not a car payment. That is a mortgage on something that will be worth half what you paid for it before you are anywhere close to done paying. Interest rates have not helped. The national average on a new vehicle is sitting right around 6 to 7%. On a used vehicle, 11 to 12%. Those numbers have barely moved in 2.5 years. So not only are buyers stretching loans to 8 years to make the payment bearable, they are paying a significant portion of that payment straight to interest every single month, with almost nothing going toward the actual principal in the early years. Run the real numbers on a 72-month loan, and the amount going to interest versus principal in the first 2 years will make your stomach turn. And the dealership never once showed you that calculation. Stack all of this together, and you get a number that very few people are talking about loudly enough. Total auto loan debt in the United States right now sits at $1.65 trillion, second only to mortgage debt in this country. And it is not holding steady. It is growing at a compounding rate year over year with no sign of slowing down. $1.65 trillion borrowed against vehicles that are losing value every single day. Something has to give, and the cracks are already showing. Here is where the two sides of this crisis connect. On one side, you have 3.1 million unsold vehicles sitting on dealership lots with nowhere to go. On the other side, you have buyers who cannot get approved cannot afford the payments, and in millions of cases, already lost the vehicle they had. These are not separate problems. They are the same problem viewed from opposite ends of the same parking lot. Start with the buyers who overpaid during the pandemic. They signed for vehicles at peak prices, sometimes $15,000 or $20,000 over MSRP, financed the whole thing, and drove off feeling like they had won. What they did not realize was that the moment that vehicle left the lot, it started losing value fast. The price they paid was inflated. The loan they signed was based on that inflated price. And now, a few years later, they owe significantly more than the vehicle is actually worth. That is negative equity. It is sitting on millions of American households right now like a financial weight they cannot lift or put down. The natural move when you are underwater on a vehicle is to trade it in and roll that negative equity into a new purchase. Lenders used to allow that. 140%, sometimes 150% loan to value. They would let you wrap a significant amount of negative equity straight into the new loan and start the cycle over again. That door is closed now. Lenders are watching too many payments stop and too many vehicles heading back to auction. They are not in the business of stacking bad debt on top of bad debt and calling it a loan anymore. Over 20% of all auto loan applications submitted in 2025 were denied. 1 in 5 people who walked into a dealership ready to buy could not get approved. And the ones who did get approved are not all staying current. Right now, 30-day, 60-day, and 90-day delinquencies are at the highest levels ever recorded in this country. Not the highest since 2009. Not the highest in a decade. The highest ever. 2.5 million vehicles were repossessed in 2025. And the trajectory heading into 2026 is not improving. It is accelerating. Think about what that actually means. 2.5 million families. 2.5 million driveways that went empty. 2.5 million people who signed paperwork, made payments for a while, and then watched a tow truck show up anyway. The lots are full because the buyers are tapped out. The repo wave and the inventory pileup are not two different stories. They never were. Most people think the hardest part of buying a car is negotiating the price on the lot. The back and forth with the salesperson, the manager who keeps disappearing into the back office, the number that slowly inches down until both sides pretend it feels fair. That part is uncomfortable, but it is not where the real damage gets done. The real damage happens in a room most buyers do not even see coming. The finance office. The last stop before you get the keys. The part of the process that gets framed as routine paperwork, a formality, something to get through quickly so you can finally drive home. And that framing is exactly how it is designed to work. Here is what is actually happening inside that room. The finance officer already knows what interest rate you qualified for. The lender approved you at a specific number, maybe 2.9%, maybe 3.5%. And the dealership is legally allowed to mark that rate up before they present it to you. So the rate you actually sign at could be 4.9%. It could be 5.9%. The difference between what the lender approved and what you signed goes straight into the dealership's pocket. And nobody in that room volunteers that information while you are initialing the paperwork. Then come the ADD-ons. Paint protection packages, fabric sealant, tire and wheel coverage, gap insurance priced at 3 times what it costs through your own insurance provider. Extended warranties bundled into the monthly payment so the number still sounds manageable. Each one presented like a reasonable precaution. Each one carrying a markup that would make your head spin if you saw it itemized clearly. And they are rarely itemized clearly. The whole structure of that room is built around exhaustion and momentum. You have already been at the dealership for hours. You already negotiated, You already said yes to the car. You want to go home. And the finance officer knows that. They are trained to know that. The yes you already gave on the lot is the most powerful tool they have when they start stacking the paperwork. People are catching on. Buyers today are more informed, more skeptical, and more willing to walk away than they were a decade ago. That awareness is part of why showroom traffic is down and why dealerships are struggling to close deals like they used to. But the buyers who do not know are still walking into that room every single day. And it is always the ones who can least afford it who leave with the most attached to their loan. The door closes. The meter starts running. Something shifted. It did not happen overnight and nobody announced it, but the behavior is showing up clearly in the data now. Americans are holding on to their vehicles longer than at any other point in recent history. The average used to be 3 to 5 years before someone traded in and moved on to something newer. That number has stretched to 5, 7, sometimes 10 years now. Not because people love their current vehicles that deeply, because the math on buying a new one simply does not work anymore. Think about what that decision actually looks like for most households right now. A new truck at $64,000 on average, before taxes, before dealer fees, before the finance office gets involved. Monthly payments in the range of $800 to $1,200, depending on your credit and down payment. Insurance that has more than doubled over the last 3 years alone. Fuel, maintenance, registration, or the alternative, take that same money, put it toward keeping the vehicle you already own running, and come out significantly ahead every single month. People are running that math and choosing the vehicle they already have. That is not irrational. That is the smartest financial move available to most Americans in this market right now. The F-150 Raptor is available at invoice pricing today. So is the TRD Pro Tacoma. So are the Trailhunter models. Vehicles that carried $10,000 markups over sticker just 2 years ago are now sitting on lots at or below invoice and still not moving. Dealerships are dangling the highest incentive packages seen in 2 decades, and buyers are shrugging. Because when you inflate the MSRP by 45% and then offer a 5% discount, the math still does not come out in the buyer's favor. People understand that now. The question buyers are asking right now is what it would actually take. 30% off? 40%? 0% financing for the full term? Because wages have not kept pace with what vehicles cost today. That gap does not close just because manufacturers add a cashback offer to their website. The fundamental problem is structural, and a few $1,000s off a $90,000 truck does not fix a structural problem. The buyers who are going to win in this market are the ones who refuse to be rushed. The ones who calculate total cost of ownership before they ask about monthly payments. The ones who understand that a dealership manufacturing urgency does not mean urgency actually exists. Patience is the only leverage that actually works right now. For the first time in years, the buyers who have it are holding all the cards. Here is what the full picture actually looks like. 3.1 million unsold vehicles sitting on lots across this country. $1.65 trillion in auto loan debt, growing at a compounding rate. 2.5 million repossessions in 2025 alone, with more coming. Lenders slamming the door on buyers who are already underwater. Dealerships bleeding flooring costs on inventory they cannot move, while their salespeople walk out the door. This did not happen randomly. The industry spent years treating buyers like a resource to extract from. It pushed prices past the point of reason, stretched loan terms past the point of logic, and walked millions of people into a finance office designed to take whatever was left. Buyers hit their limit and stopped coming. The lots filled up. The crisis is the consequence. But the power has shifted. It sits with the buyer now, the one who walks in with data instead of desire, who calculates total cost before asking about monthly payments, who refuses to let a dealership manufacture urgency out of thin air. Emotion built this mess. Math is the only way through it. The lots are full. The leverage is yours. Use it.